I'm a trustee of the Southborough Open Land Foundation, and we are the sponsors of today's program. So first thing I'd like to do is thank the library and the staff of the library for providing this facility for us and clearing out the tables and making room and putting up with birds who sometimes aren't house trained. Okay, hopefully they will hit the tarps. Okay, let me just say a few things about the Southborough Open Land Foundation if you don't know anything about it. We are a private land trust in Southborough. We are not a part of the town government. We're funded by memberships, donations, grants, things like that. Not any money from the town. We own 183 acres of land in town, 14 different parcels. Probably the most well-known one is Beals Preserve. Many of you have been there, out on Route 30. And for those of you who haven't been there, there's an Art on the Trails program ongoing now, which I'm not quite sure how many artists there have their work on display on the trails. And that will be up until next Sunday, the 23rd. And at 4 o'clock on next Sunday, the 23rd, there's a closing ceremony, and there will be some poets there, and I think some of the artists will be there. And there'll be sort of a tour of that for about 2 hours to go through the woods and see it. So if you haven't seen that or you want to go up there, it might be a fun thing to do. You have that this last week to go up anytime if you want. I did want to say just one thing. We are a 501c3 charitable corporation. And with that, I have some brochures in the back if anybody's interested when they leave to find out more about us. With that, I want to introduce Tom Riccardi, who founded, operates, owns, is the general operator, handyman, and everything else of the Massachusetts Birds of Prey rehabilitation facility in Conway, Massachusetts. Tom, you were a fish and game warden for a number of years, okay? And Tom, too, is funded by donations and by programs he's giving like this. And I'm sure if you have any questions or anything after the program, he's more than happy to tell anybody about anything, okay? That's his experience. So with that, I'm going to ask Tom to start our presentation for us.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Nice to see all of you. I'd love to see young people at the program. Really great. You guys all like birds? Yeah. You're going to see some real cool ones today.
Wait, what's the biggest one?
Oh, where do you see it?
When is the golden eagle?
I brought in the largest owl, not in Massachusetts, not in the United States, but I brought the largest owl in the whole world. Biggest species of owl. You'll see that pretty soon. As you heard, my name's Tom Riccardi, and I run a project called Mass Bird of Prey Rehab. And the object of the project is to take in injured birds of prey, mend the injury, and release them back to the wild. I was just telling the gentleman on the way down, my wife called me and said the state police are on the phone. Route 91, an owl just got hit by a car. He's down in my truck now with an injured wing, a big great horned owl. So it's a constant project. There are a lot of people say to me, "What a great hobby you have." Let me tell you, it's not a hobby. It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But I really enjoy doing it. You know, boys and girls, some boys and girls always ask me, "How did you get started working with birds of prey?" And I always say, my 4th grade teacher, her name was Mrs. Groden, and she loved animals. And I couldn't wait to get to school in the morning to get to Mrs. Groden's class because she always brought in something exciting. Maybe a bird's nest, a tadpole in a jar, a bullfrog, a bird's feather. So I really, really enjoyed her class. And every time I think about Mrs. Groden, I say, wow, I'm still here doing the things that Mrs. Groden inspired me to do. So my 4th grade teacher really helped me do what I'm doing today. This year, we're getting a lot of West Nile virus from the mosquitoes. And it usually just affects blackbirds and crows. But this year, hawks and owls are getting it also. About 10 of the last 15 birds I picked up, the blood samples came back positive for West Nile virus. They don't survive, they die from it. But the biggest problem facing wildlife today, and when I speak about birds of prey, I'm really speaking about all types of wildlife because they all have the same problem, loss of habitat, no place to live. And people always tell me, wow, I see all kinds of animals. I usually tell them because they have no other place to go. That's why you see them in your backyards, because we've shrunk their habitat, no place to live. I brought several different birds with me today, and I'll take them out. I'll try to walk around a little bit with them. And when I'm done, especially for the boys and girls, don't leave. If you want to come up and see the birds right up close, we can do that too. So after I'm done with the program, I'll be here for a while. Yes?
When I was at home, I saw a baby bunny in my yard.
Wow,
Eating
baby.
all the dandelions.
Really?
Wait, what?
Your dad and mom must have been happy you was eating the dandelions
No.
on the lawn.
Oh, yes.
That's great. You saw a baby bunny eating the dandelions. That's pretty good. Very good. Yeah.
I've seen lots of eagles and falcons, like, I've been outside there.
That's good. You'll see a few today. Let me show you a few. Yeah.
We saw a deer on the roadway.
Really? Saw a deer on the runway when you were coming here.
Yep.
Pretty good. All right. Okay. Remember, when I speak about birds of prey, I'm speaking about all types of wildlife. If I had to pick one animal that represented the problems in the environment today, it would be this animal. What is this? An elephant tusk. An elephant tusk. You know, boys and girls, and I'm going to speak to the boys and girls for a minute. When you look at an elephant tusk, it's nothing. It's called ivory. Just a big piece of bone. But people want this ivory. You know why they want it? What do you think they do with this piece of ivory? Anyone know? They carve it into statues and things. And because of that, because people want this piece of ivory, the wild elephant is in serious trouble. And most biologists agree, if we do not stop the trade in African elephant ivory, the last wild elephant will be gone from the wild in about 15 years, just because of this piece of ivory. One last thing I want to show you, and then we'll see some birds. I got a great book here. I love this book. What does that say? She's wearing a dead bird on her head. Back in the 1890s, women wore hats like this. That was the fashion, feathered hats. And these two women that you see in this book, Mrs. Hemingway and Mrs. Hall, they lived in Boston, and the year was 1890. They were out walking around the common of Boston. They noticed a lot of people with this hat, like this, on their head. They were outraged. They went to the State House and talked to the governor. They went to Washington. They demanded action. Why are we destroying all those beautiful birds so someone could plop them on the top of their head? Well, Mrs. Hall and Mrs. Hemingway were responsible for a law that was passed in 1903, and that law is still in effect today. It states you cannot possess the feathers. So if you're walking around in the forest, you find an eagle feather like this, you take it. You really can't possess that feather because it's protected by law. Who can possess feathers like this? I guess I can because I have a special license. Who else? Anyone know? Anyone? Yeah.
It's because the bald eagle is the animal of our country.
Boy, you better believe it. He said that's because the bald eagle is the animal of our country. The national bird is the bald eagle. Now, if you think about your history books, you would know that Native Americans, because of their heritage, can possess eagle, hawk, owl feathers for ceremonial purposes. Here's two beautiful fans made with bald eagle tail feathers. And incidentally, Mrs. Hemingway and Mrs. Hall, they formed a group of people together. They were very persistent. They formed the Massachusetts Audubon Society. Okay. Usually by now, some of the children will say, can we see the birds? Birds of prey. Can someone tell me, what is a bird of prey? Does anyone know?
A bird that hunts birds.
A bird that hunts not only birds,
And other animals.
other animals. You know something? There's even two types of birds of prey that are vegetarians. A palm nut vulture and a honey buzzard. Eats honey. So, two, but they're a predator. They hunt other living things. Name a bird of prey. What type of bird of prey?
Peregrine falcon.
Ooh, the big one. I may have one in that one of those boxes over there. What else?
Golden eagle.
Golden eagle. Anyone else? Oh, my favorite. A vulture. Anyone else?
Some owls.
An owl. When you look at a bird of prey, I'm going to show you a few owls in a second. When you look at an owl, you're going to notice he has a wing like a giant butterfly. And when that owl flaps his wings, he doesn't make any sound. When you look at an owl, you're going to notice he's got a big head and a flat face. He's listening, just like this. If I was across the street and you were calling me and I couldn't hear you, I probably would do something like this. I'm trying to pick up sound. The owl can move his feathers just like this to pick up sound. And nature gave him special feathers. So when he's hunting, he's listening, and when he flaps his wings, no sound. Yes?
The owl's ears are actually, one is way down here and the other is way up.
What's your name?
Hemingway. No.
What's your name?
James.
Wow, you're pretty smart. You know a lot about birds. You said one ear is here and there. Just all right, you're right. You're offset. Okay, so you see what an owl's wing looks like. Now, if you look at a hawk, his wing's semi-pointed like this. He's what we call a soaring hawk, big soaring bird. Then we have what we call the accipiter. He has short wings. Why would he have short wings like this? Why would a hawk have short wings? Anyone know? He hunts in the forest. All the trees, if he had wings like this, it'd be hard to maneuver. Short wings like this through the branches. And then the last bird I want to show you, my friend over there said it before. The falcon. He has long pointed wings like this for speed. Yeah.
They took their wings for the stoop.
What is it called?
The stoop.
The stoop. What's a stoop?
It's when they dive.
Hey, guys, quite a group here.
They go up
That- That's
150
excellent.
kilometers
How
per
fast? How fast?
150 kilometers?
Pretty close. I'm not good with kilometers. 200 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Pretty fast. So you got long pointed wings for speed. Okay. Let's look at some birds and I'll be able to explain it a lot better. Let's see. Whoop. Hey, big guy. Hey, big guy. Hi. Getting arranged here. There we go. Listen. Listen. You can make some sound. Does anyone know what type of owl this is? A screech. Listen to him. He's screeching. You know, most people say to me, what a cute baby owl. You know how old this owl is? I've had him 25 years. He's about 27 years old right now, and he still doesn't like me. After all that time, he still doesn't like me. Now, the screech owl, they come in two colors. They come in this red color, just like your hair. Red. And they come in a gray color. Same owl, just a different color. The screech owl is a cavity nester. They live in a hole in a tree. They don't build a nest. But the screech owl, pretty interesting, because he has those two tufts of feathers. They're called ear tufts on the top of his head, but they're not his ears. His ears are back here. Does anyone know why he has ear tufts on the top of his head? Anyone? Go ahead.
To make them look more dangerous?
Well, frighten enemies. There's something special about an owl with ear tufts.
Same reason you go like this, bring the sound, hold the sound.
Yeah, well, close. Also, look at that color. Picture this bird sitting on a branch. He'll get against the side of a tree.
He uses it
Camouflage. He'll use it for camouflage. Let me get a paper towel here. He'll use it for camouflage. So oh my, they got it there. Yeah, I know. That's usually the highlight of the program, especially when he gets my shoe. You know, unfortunately, this bird was stuck in a rose bush 25 years ago. He had a thorn embedded in his left eye. You can see he's still got the scar on his eyeball. Screech owl.
Oh, so does he have a certain
No.
name?
You know, people always ask me, what's his name? It's a screech owl. I refuse to put a human name on a wild animal because humans are the biggest problems facing wildlife. So why to give him an enemy name? I just call him a screech owl. That's it. But the little screech owl, he's the second smallest owl in New England. There's one even smaller called a saw-whet owl. Okay? Screech owl. Boy, he's really noisy today. Okay. You ready for this guy? Hey, big guy. How are ya? How are ya? Hey, people around here. This bird is so big, they call it an eagle owl because he is almost the size of an eagle. Largest species of owl in the world. Now you gotta watch that head movement. He's focusing his eyes, just like if we put a pair of binoculars to your eye and you're twisting it to get a better picture. Exactly what he's doing. He's focusing his eyes back and forth. Eagle owl. Look at those wings. Now, unfortunately, the eagle owl is native to Europe. He's not found in America. And this bird was brought here illegally by some people thought it'd make a great pet. And here it is, ended up with me, and it can't be released because it's an exotic species. It's called a giant eagle owl. And look at his eyes. When he gets older, his eyes are going to get bright red.
Whoa, Mickey's as big as you.
It sure is. Look at those feet.
Oh, look
Big talent. Yeah. Owls have such big eyes, they can't move their eyes like we can, so he has to move his head in all different directions. He can turn his head completely around over his shoulder. Hey, what's the noise today? Oh, he's getting warm. Watch under here. Watch. It'll start doing this. He's cooling off. He's cooling off. Eagle owl. How much do you think he weighs? 100 pounds? Well, I must be pretty strong. 100 pounds. He weighs about 8 pounds. Now he's got ear tufts. He has ear tufts just like the screech owl. He has them set back right now. But they'll sit right up just like the screech owl. Okay? Eagle owl. Now I'm going to show you two types of hawks. And as I mentioned, when you look at a hawk, wings like an owl, but just semi-pointed. Two different types of hawks. And let's see, I'm going to show you this one first. Good guy, how are you? He got caught out in the rain yesterday. Hi. What kind of hawk is it? Red-tailed hawk. Unfortunately, boys and girls, this hawk has a very bad habit. They love to hunt along the edge of the highway. And when you're driving along with your mom and dad on the school bus, look along the edge of the road. I'll guarantee before you go very far, you're going to see a red-tailed hawk sitting there. And when a mouse or a squirrel tries to go across that road, no place to hide, down comes the red-tailed hawk, and many of them get hit by automobiles. And that's what happened to this poor hawk here. Unfortunately, he's blind in one eye, and he has partial vision in the other eye. This is the largest New England hawk, the red-tailed hawk. Who's bigger? When you look at a hawk or an eagle or an owl or a falcon, who's bigger, the boy or the girl? Boy or the girl? The female. The girl is always the larger of the two. This is a female. The male would be smaller. Okay? Red-tailed hawk.
I always see.
Oh, he's falling asleep on me. He's sleeping. Hey, you're sleeping. My friend in the back said you can see these hawks all the time soaring around. If you see a hawk soaring, he's not hunting. But if you see him sitting in a tree, he's hunting. He's waiting for prey to move around, and down he'll come. And this year there's a lot of gray squirrels. They're everywhere. And the red-tailed hawk is feeding on a lot of squirrels. You know, today, everybody's health conscious. You know, we grow organic plants. We have free-range chickens. We don't keep them in coops anymore. And on behalf of the red-tailed hawk, I'd like to thank people for letting their chickens roam free. Because the old name of the red-tailed hawk, the farmers used to call this bird a chicken hawk. They come in and raid the chicken yard. So today, a lot of people let their chickens roam free. This type of bird loves it. We catch a lot of chickens. Red-tailed hawk. This next bird I'm going to show you, pretty rare. I've been working with birds all my life, and this is the first of this species I've ever recovered that was a juvenile, a fledgling. So they're nesting in Massachusetts, and some people think it's because of climate change. These birds were never found in this area, only on migration passing through. But today, we're starting to find nestlings. So this little guy's born, this little one I'm going to show you next, born this year. First one I've ever seen. Let me see, he's kind of noisy today, too. Hi, how are you? Anyone know what this is? What type? No, it's not the Peregrine. It's the second down from the Peregrine. It's called a Merlin. A Merlin. Very rich. Look at that. Watch this. Watch. A Merlin. Watch. Nice pointed wings. There he's going to do his exercise. He's doing his exercise. The Merlin's found in other states north of us, but very rarely here in Massachusetts. So this Merlin, pretty interesting because it's a fledgling. He's noisy today. We used to call it a pigeon hawk years ago. Watch your sit. Watch this. Ready? No? You're not going to turn your head around? No? On the bottom, falcons, the only birds that have that tooth on the bottom of the bill, on the top bill. We have another falcon here in Massachusetts called a kestrel, a little smaller than this bird. That bird is in serious trouble because of loss of habitat. In fact, the state of Massachusetts has that bird on the endangered species list for this state. Loss of habitat, no place to live. So he's a little smaller than this bird, and it's called a kestrel. That guy. I forgot to show you the other hawk. Let me show you this guy. This is the Harris hawk. This is called a Harris hawk. And if you look at this bird, look at those long legs. He's got very short wings and a long tail. He flies real fast and quick because of that long tail and short wings. The Harris hawk is a southern species, very rarely found anywhere but the Southwest. And look at this bird's face. He's very alert. Every little movement he watches. He's quite the hunter. Does anyone know why this bird has a hook on the tip of his beak? Is it so I could pull it like this? Well, why has he got a hook on his beak? When you eat your food, what do you use to eat your food? A knife and fork? This is his knife and fork right there. He tear his food with that hook beak. You know, the Harris hawk is one of the very few birds of prey that will nest and hunt in family groups. Very, very rare in birds of prey. Harris hawk. This bird's blind in one eye. I got him. No, see, I got a leash on him. So he can't go anywhere. I hold right on to him.
My name is very similar to the Harris hawk. My name is
What is it?
H-A-R-S.
That's pretty good. Yeah, they bond with each other, dog.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. That's cool.
Oh, is this your Peregrine falcon? You were right.
I'm protecting Jack.
This is the Peregrine. Listen to this. This bird's a real success story. Many years ago, back in the 40s and 50s, when we were spraying poison to kill the insects, no one realized what was happening. We poisoned the insects, the robins came along and the songbirds ate the insects. Then the falcon came along and ate the birds. No one eats the falcon, he's top of the food chain. So he accumulated that poison in the system and they started to disappear. And by the 1970s, the peregrine was an endangered species. And Rachel Carson, the famous biologist, in her book, The Silent Spring, she's the one that noticed the change, and she discovered it was pesticide poisoning. So once we stop spraying pesticide, the falcon is coming back. But let me tell you, this bird's built for speed. How fast was that again?
200 miles an hour.
At least 200 miles an hour, which makes it probably the fastest living thing on planet Earth. Long pointed wings for speed. And the bird goes, look at his face. He's got that black line under his eyes. Where have you seen that before? Where have you seen a black line under the eye? A cheetah. Where else? Where's my friend of 87? Where have you seen black under an eye before? Football, exactly. Yeah, that's okay. We're covered. Football, baseball. The players put the black under their eyes. You know, today we're in an electronic age. I tell you, everybody is doing this. Everybody's got these gadgets. And you know, just like pesticide 50 years ago, in 20 or 30 years, we're going to realize we're making a lot of mistakes. You know, I thought some of the land was safe today from development. Now, any open lot, we're putting up solar panels. We're putting up windmills. We're putting all these gadgets, cell phone towers, and they're all affecting wildlife. So this is called the peregrine. Notice how alert this guy is. He's really... Whoa, whoa, whoa. What? Is that your favorite bird? There he is. Well, they sure do. They nest on nest on cliffs and buildings. Very good. A big guy.
Peregrine falcons are our favorite birds.
They're pretty neat.
They have the same color.
There he is. Okay, guys. This is a golden eagle, and it gets its name from the color in the back of its head. Unfortunately, the golden eagle is gone from New England. It was eradicated many years ago. You know, a lot of people tell me they see golden eagles all the time. What they're really looking at are young or juvenile bald eagles, which don't acquire a white head and tail for at least 5 years, so they look similar to a golden eagle. But you know, I was amazed. I've only seen 2 or 3 of these in all my years working with raptors. And this bird came from Gardner, not too far from here. Some loggers were in the forest cutting wood. And they noticed this bird on the ground. They did the right thing, they left it alone. A week later, they went back to recover the logs, and the bird was still there. When I went down to rescue this eagle, it was very obvious, this wing. That wing is broken, and it did not heal properly, so there was nothing the veterinarian could do to fix that wing. Boy, talk about a predator. This bird will hunt anything, even large animals the size of young deer and foxes and everything else. So he's quite a predator. When you look at an eagle, largest bird of prey in America is the golden eagle and the bald eagle. Okay? Look at those feet. What are the claws called? Talons. And look at those talons. They're about 3 inches long on this guy. Really big talons. Okay? So it's called a golden eagle. And those tail feathers, you see those beautiful tail feathers? Native Americans really prize the tail feathers of the golden eagle. I'm not going to walk around with this bird because if she decides she wants to go to the bathroom, pretty messy. So we're going to stay right here with her.
Where's
Good guy today.
Where's the largest population of this?
They're out in the western states.
Yeah.
This bird probably came out of Canada.
Yeah.
We've got a population in the northern provinces of Canada, probably migrating through Massachusetts, hit a wire or a branch and injured that wing. Okay, good guy. I saved the best for last. My favorite bird. You're going to be surprised. I have to put him up here for a couple of minutes because I've got him potty trained. Put him right up here. Hey, you want to come out? The vulture. My favorite bird. Get up. Get up. You gonna go? I thought he'd go. The reason I like the vulture, he's perfectly adapted to the environment. If you look at a vulture, he has a featherless head. Does anyone know why? There's no feathers on his head. Anyone? Yeah. Very good. He's a scavenger. He sticks his head into his food. Pretty messy. So if he had feathers on the top of his head, awful hard to keep clean. And when I walk around, you'll notice, you turn around, you'll notice his beak, his nostrils. His nostrils go complete. Thank you. His nostrils go completely through because the turkey vulture. That's good. Huh? That's good. Thank you. The turkey vulture is one of the very few birds that has an excellent sense of smell. So his nostrils go completely through. He can find his next meal by smell. Look at this turkey vulture. Sit her out. Look at that beautiful face. What a face you have. Hey, what? I was hoping he'd go on a plastic here, but I guess not. Does anyone know? Now get ready for this. This is nature. It's not pretty sometimes. Does anyone know how the turkey vulture keeps cool in the hot weather, in the desert? How does he keep cool? You're not going to believe it. You're not going to, go ahead. He throws up? Nope. No one knows. No one knows how you keep cool. Okay, I guess I'll have to tell him. Come on. If you look at his legs, look at his legs. His legs are actually red. They look white. You know why? When he gets hot, you know what he does? And remember, this is nature. He poops on his legs. And that's how he keeps his body cool, by doing that. You know, you look at this bird, not very handsome. When you see this bird up in the sky, nothing flies like a turkey vulture. And later on, his head will change a beautiful red color, which gives the bird its name, turkey vulture. Okay? What's the first letter in the word vulture? V. When you see a turkey vulture flying, always remember he holds his wings in a V like this, and he rocks back and forth. Okay? Turkey vulture. You know, some people were cutting some wood, some trees down, the highway department. They cut this big elm tree down. And he said when the elm tree hit the ground, it looked like a tennis ball rolled out on the ground right beside an old egg. When I went down to see what it was a baby turkey vulture. And unfortunately, when he hit the ground, it did some damage to his eye. But he's doing really good. And I raised him right from the size of my palm of my hand. And here he is. Turkey vulture. Let me ask you boys and girls something. If you're walking home from school, you see a little baby rabbit or a little baby bird in the yard, what's the best thing to do?
Leave it alone.
Who said that? You're right. Leave it alone. It's real important. If you see a young bird, a young animal, I always say this. If you care, leave it there. Don't pick it up. Don't take it home. Leave it exactly where you find it. Okay? He's hungry. I usually bring something for him. I didn't bring any food. No food for you today. Nothing. Nothing. Where's my friend about his ears? Remember you said about his ears? When you look at him after, you can see his ears because he has no feathers on his head like the other birds. So you can see the holes in his ear. Okay. Turkey vulture. Get up here and do your business. Okay. Perfect timing. I'm going to be around, excuse me, I'm going to be around for, yes.
Once me and my mom saw a male turkey vulture with a pink head.
The pink head, yeah, the red head. You know when they get mad? The head turns redder. He blushes, gets real red. I'll be around for a while, and especially the boys and girls want to see any of the birds again, just come right up and I'll be more than glad to take them out again for you. Other than that, get out there and enjoy this beautiful weather. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.